This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, and I'm going to read verses 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, or daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Peace and blessings to the elect, the listen and learning, the Yakiwak Watyam. Double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, and the elder bishops. In much respect to the mighty Gabarium and the houses and hedges, bidding Yashar out to the marriage, and to the Gabarium making videos of edification to wake up the lost sheep. In salutations to the less headed abroad that be under the speckled bird. Wa Shabbat Shalom. Shalom to Khan Batgad. Shalom. Wa Barakatam. So, as you see the picture here, you got the Statue of Liberty, and then you have behind it flames, okay, which is a future prophecy of Babylon, also known as the Great Whore, okay, the Lady of Kingdoms, so on and so forth. The Lord has called it many names, okay. Overall, the ultimate judgment is the fall, okay, and being cleansed by fire, thermonuclear fire, by the third woe spoken in Revelation 11 chapter, okay. So again, the laid, sit in the dust, O daughter of Babylon. The dust means a low place in poverty, because you got to remember, again, Babylon used to be the hammer of the whole earth, okay. It used to rule with an iron fist, rule under the rulership of Esau, who was given that blessing by Isaac, who was Yahushai, to rule the earth with the sword, and they had the fatness of it thereof. Okay, so now we're seeing the descent slowly but surely through the tokens and the signs, right? The signs spoken of in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, I believe the 4th verse, when it talks about measuring time diligently within itself. Okay, and also those tokens, which goes into prophecies as is spoken in Second Ezra's the 5th chapter. Okay, so hey, we're seeing it in real time, and it's a blessing, man. Okay, it's like Second Ezra's 9:1-4, I believe, but again, we're seeing it through real time. Okay, so I want to grab this in the book of Jeremiah. Okay, this is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. It says, Babylon, also known as America. Okay, America is the daughter, the great whore, the mystery daughter of Babylon. Okay, Babylon being the UK, and America is revised. Okay, the extension. Okay, the extension of Rome, who had that grievous sword, that grievous wound. Okay, Jeremiah 51 and verse 7 says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. So all the earth, all the nations, okay, were under the philosophies and the ideologies of America, the great whore, okay, feminism, okay, so on and so forth, man, same-sex marriages, Christianity, so on and so forth, okay. All the nations have drunken of the wine of her fornication. This is why you see these Western philosophies and ideologies in countries where you would think that they will not adopt, right? You got Japan, China, places where that were very traditional, okay? But now you got whores over there, okay? They taking up on the ways of America, so on and so forth. Jeremiah 51 and verse 7, I'm reading this entirety. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, the Lord meaning Yahweh, all caps, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Okay, the nations are out of their damn minds, man, following after the ways of this wicked rulership under the wicked. Job 9:24. Okay, also tells you in Daniel the 4th chapter that the Lord gave this rulership over to the bases of men. Okay, Job chapter 30 calls the Edomites were the bases of men, violent in the earth. Okay, so as you see, Oh, we got a scoffer here. Mr. Elijah's back. Well, hey, Mr. Elijah's back. If you know the truth, go out there on the highways and byways and go teach, man. Okay, you got to have a ministry. Go out there and teach. And Babylon is the entire. What do you say? Babylon is the entire system of money making business all over the world. No, I'm sorry, man. You're wrong. That's the beast system, man. Okay, not Babylon. So go read your scriptures, man. And as a matter of fact, you can get the hell off my look at this idiot. You get the hell off my live stream, man. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, Israel. This idiot doesn't even know that he's fulfilling prophecy. It talks about Marcus and Scarface in the last days. But anyways, let's get back to it. Salakia. Habakkuk, I said Habakkuk. Jeremiah 51:7, before I was rudely interrupted. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hands that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Okay. So guess what? Again, okay, the philosophies of Esau, Edom, and of America, which is the mystery daughter of Babylon, okay, has spread all over the world, and the world, that all the nations are out of their damn minds. Okay. So again, I was about to bring out, now we're seeing a shift of power. Okay, we're seeing a shift of power slowly but surely. See, Esau is losing this power, and the nation of the wicked is being exposed. Okay. You also got to remember, how did Esau get their power? Through rape, robbery, okay, deceit, so on and so forth. Let's go into the book of Sirach. Let's see. Sirach chapter 10 and verse 8. And it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So how did Esau Edom get their riches? Through chattel slavery, okay? Through going about and taking over lands, man. And name them after themselves, right? Perfect example, Scipio Africanus, which was a Roman general who defeated Hannibal in the Second Punic Wars and named the continent after himself. That's why you have the continent of Africa. Okay, so on and so forth. Scipio Asiaticus, Amerigo Vespucci. Okay, so that power shift, man, is slowly being transferred from the wicked to the righteous. And we see it by measuring the time judging within itself. Okay, so Esau has gained his riches deceitfully, right? Let's grab this. Psalms chapter 73. And it's evident. We see it, okay? Through the banking families, so on and so forth. Psalm 73 and verse 12. It says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. So they got their money unjustly. The scriptures talk about to rejoice not in riches got unjustly. Through theft, okay, through murder, lies, and deceit. The scriptures talk about the wicked. It says the wicked are estranged from the womb, speaking lies as soon as they've been born, putting out all types of unrighteous decrees, right? Tariffs and so on and so forth against other nations, man. So they increase in riches by their wickedness. But how the Lord works is that now they're in debt. They are trillions of dollars in debt, man. Let's go to Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk chapter 2. Let's see. Where is it? Verse 6. There we go. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Now, we just read in Psalm 73 that they are the ungodly that increases their riches. By what? Sirach 10 and verse 8. Unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit. Habakkuk 2 and 6 says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So that thick clay goes into what? Deep debt. All right. They got these riches unjustly. That's why the scriptures say in the book of Job that he that soweth wickedness reapeth the same. And we're seeing that in real time. We're seeing the slow descent of Esau Edom's queendom by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and his son, Yahweh Shai. Also, another reason why they're laid in the thick clay, that debt, is because they have no damn wisdom. The Lord has taken their wisdom. They can't rule correctly. They can't govern the world correctly, right? Sirach, the 10th chapter says, an unwise king destroyed this people. Okay. Let's go into the book of Obadiah. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 8. It says, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, even destroy these wise men out of Edom? Okay, so your puppets, your presidents, your governors, I call it, they are puppets. They're puppets of the elites. But your presidents and governors, your city councilmen, so on and so forth. Okay, they are losing their wisdom. They're making mistakes. They're showing their hands, and a lot of them are just doing it and they don't even care. They're showing you that, hey, we don't care. We're going to roll out with these plans whether you like it or not. Okay. But those who are in the council of wisdom, the Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, they see what's going on. Obadiah 1 and 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? Just like that Elijah idiot. Okay. Elijah's back. Whatever. He doesn't have the understanding, man. He doesn't understand the history. He doesn't understand that America is so-called Egypt and Slovakia. He doesn't understand that America is also called Egypt, right? Nineveh, the Lady of Kingdoms, Babylon, so on and so forth. Okay, he doesn't have that wisdom. So anyways, again, as it says, Sirach, the 10th chapter, I believe it's Sirach 10 and 3. Let's grab that. Let's grab it. Sirach 10 and verse 3. Let's start at verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of the prudent man is well ordered. So if this rulership was under a righteous rulership, ruling in the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that means the government, that means the people will be well instructed. There will be none of this confusion. Okay. The people out there protesting, so on and so forth. Verse 2, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. This is why wickedness has increased upon the earth each day. Wickedness has soared up into the heavens, man. The people are wicked because of what? An unwise and wicked king. Verse 3, an unwise king destroyed this people. Going back into Obadiah 1 and 8, how the Lord has taken the wisdom out of Edom. This is why they can't rule correctly. This is why confusion and chaos is rampant in this country. Sirach chapter 10 and verse 3 in its entirety. An unwise king destroyed this people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the cities shall be inhabited. And this is why the cities are in chaos right now. They're in shambles. Okay. Another sign, we see the BRIC nations turning against America. So you got to remember, again, America was that hammer of the whole earth, man. Okay. But now you have all the other nations standing up against America, man. As it says in the book of Joel, it says, let the weak say I am strong. Okay, so we're seeing seeing America's allies turn against them. Let's go to Nahum. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 4. It says, because of the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, right? That harlot is what? America, also known as Babylon, also known as the Lady of Kingdoms, also known as the Great Whore. Okay? Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mischief of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Going back into what? Deceiving the nations, man. That's why the nations are mad, because they have drunk of the philosophy of Babylon, also known as America. Okay? Let's also prove that it's a great whore. It talks about that in Revelations, the 19th chapter, I believe. It calls it the great whore. Where is it? Revelation chapter 19, right? Verse 2. For true and righteous are his judgments. So like I saw verse 1. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven, saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and Slakia, and had avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Because you got to remember, this is also going to go into martyrs, man. They're going to be prophets who are going to be martyrs for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and that blood is going to cry out to the Lord. It's going to take place here in Babylon, man, the great whore. Okay, the great harlot. And Shalom was Shabbat Shalom to Kazak Ban Yahweh. Shalom Barakatam. Okay, so the great whore, man, the great harlot. Job 20:4 says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumph of the wicked, who is the wicked, the border of wickedness, it tells you that. Esau, Edom, in the book of Malachi. Job 20:5 says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Okay, so their time is up, man. Their time is up. The great whore is going to sit in that dust, man. And also, we talked about the allies. The allies has laid that great snare, right? Let's go in Jeremiah chapter 50 real quick. Jeremiah 50, in verse 24. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. Right? So again, who is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai using as that snare? Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7. And it says, all the men of thy confederacy. So again, going back into Jeremiah, I believe it's 50 and 23, being the hammer of the whole earth, who had all the nations under subjection, right? Because of their military power. Now the weak are saying, I am strong. And now they're going to lay that snare, and they're going to deceive America, right? Obadiah 1 and verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So you have the other nations that are not accepting the petrodollar. Okay? The other nations are not getting down with the system of America. And this is why there is war. Okay? And we understand this goes into Revelation, the 11th chapter, when it says the second woe is past, the third woe cometh quickly. All part of the Lord's plan. All part of Babylon being finished. Okay. Let's see what the other brother dropped. Then we go back to it. Yeah, this one right here. I like this one too. Yep. Isaiah 14:10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And this is why you have the other nations that speaking out against America, man. With boldness. Okay. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Lucifer meaning the elites. Lucifer goes into light bearer. Okay, which also goes into what? The Illuminati. The elites are the ones who run things. Okay. Isaiah 14:12 says, how art thou fallen from heaven? Heaven meaning rulership. Okay, not Satan and the other angels falling from heaven and falling upon the earth, as you see in what's those movies called? Hercules and all that stuff, man. It talks about that. It says, son of the morning, how art thou fallen down to the ground, which did weakest the nations, right? With what? Their philosophies and whoredoms and witchcrafts, okay? What is that? What is that movie again? When it shows the battle in heaven, I think there was 2 movies that came out a few years ago. There was a battle in heaven, and the angels were cast out and they fell to the earth. I can't recall, but it was like one of those movies along the lines with the guy going and cutting off Medusa's head, blase, blase, blase. Let's continue. So, the other nations are going to be that snare unto them. Okay. And at the end of the day, you got people, especially people here in America, that think that, this place is going to be healed with prayer. You got them saying, oh, we got to, heal America. We got to pray for America. But the scripture says that Babylon cannot be healed, right? Let's grab that in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 50:51. And I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Again, there is no praying for this place, man. Oh, the water ark, yes. Immortals and Clash of Titans. There we go. The water ark. So I know there was Clash of Titans. There were 2 of them, right? And I think there was one immortal. But yeah, the water ark. So let's get back to it. Jeremiah 51 and verse 9 says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. You have people that's been making TikTok videos and YouTube videos saying, hey, we're fleeing back to this place. We're fleeing back to that place. We're all leaving America. Okay. You got people from different countries that's saying, yo, this place is through. They're going back into their homeland. So this is part of the prophecy. Okay. Continuing, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, man. Okay. So there's no praying for this place. There's no healing. Let's go back to Nahum. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 19. What does that say? It says, there is no healing of thy bruise. As a matter of fact, there's no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. That wound is being caused by the Heavenly Father, man. And he's going to use civil war and world war to do so. Okay? The other nations turning their backs on this place. Okay? So on and so forth, man. Nahum 3 and chapter 19. It's like it. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 19. It says, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy weaknesses, Salakia, For upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually? Okay? So at the end of the day, there is no way to heal this place, man. You also got to remember how Esau is being exposed, man. The wicked are being exposed. We know those who dwell in the Holy Land are not the true children of the Lord. Okay, people are finally realizing that these unrighteous decrees, man, are nothing but oppression. I said this before, and I'll say it again: the wicked are tired of the wicked. He that is evil to himself, to whom will it be good? So they're all being exposed. Everyone is seeing them for the wicked that they are. That's why it says that they shall be small among the heathen, right? That's Obadiah 1 and 2. They're going to be greatly despised. Okay, so they're being exposed, right? Let's go back to Obadiah. Yeah, we're gonna be everywhere in the scriptures today. Let's go back to Obadiah 1 and verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? You got to remember, the scriptures talk about woe to them that hide their counsel from the Lord. Because at the end of the day, man, there's nothing hidden that will not be revealed. So we are in the time of revelation, man. Everything is being revealed. The prophets have been out there. The apostles and prophets have been out there and uploading these videos of prophecy exposing this place, man. But now people are actually really seeing it. Okay. So again, Obadiah 1 and 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Esau has been made bare. I believe that's Jeremiah the 49th chapter, right? Let's read that. Jeremiah 49. And verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. So when you think of something that's bare, you think of something that has no covering. Okay? The shame has been exposed. They are naked before the Lord. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So all of his seed line are being exposed to be the wicked. Okay? You got to remember, back in the past, before knowledge wasn't fully increased, as it says in the book of Daniel, we used to think that these were the Native Americans. We used to think they were the Vikings. We used to think they were the holy people. But now that knowledge is being, increased, and the prophets, according to Yahweh Shem Shai's heart, has been bringing out these prophecies, the earth now sees who are the wicked, man. Right? The Lord used Putin to unlock the votes. They had the true images of the Son and the holy people. And I laugh because I remember when that revelation came to pass, they said that the majority of the Europeans who were Christians threw away their Bibles. You know? So, hey, it is what it is. But everything is being exposed. Who are the wicked and who are the righteous? Okay? Let's go back to Nahum real quick. Nahum 3. Listen to verse 5. It says, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile. Right? We just read that in so like we didn't read that, but I quoted that in Job the 30th chapter when it says that they are vile in the earth, speaking of Esau, Edom. Okay. Daniel 4, the Lord gave it over to the bases of men who were violating the earth, continuing in Job 30 and 8. Okay. Nahum 3 and verse 5, I read that again. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. So all these nations are going to be like, man, America, man, used to be the shit, man. but now it's just a heap of crap. Okay, and it's gonna burn. This is Matthew chapter 13 and 16 by Kazak by Yahweh. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Right? We hear what? We hear the words of prophecy, and we see what? We see prophecy. Matthew 13 and 17. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see. Remember how the apostles came on to Yahweh on the Mount of Olives, and it was like, Lord, what is the sign in the end of the world? Meaning the end of an era, the end of an age. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world. Esau is who? The vile, who the wicked that ruleth the earth. Esau was given rulership by the Lord, Yahushua, who is Isaac. Okay. But now, guess what? Their rulership is fading because the Lord has taken away their wisdom, as it says in the book of Obadiah. Matthew 13 to 17 in its entirety. For verily I say unto you that prophets and righteous men have desired to see these things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. So the prophets of old, man, who prophesied against many kingdoms of destruction, they've longed to see the downfall of Edom, man, the downfall of the enemy. So this is a blessing, man, that we see it. And we exalt Yahweh Shem Yahushai with all our strength, man, because we get to see the downfall of the wicked, man. No more sexual morality around the world. No more homos. No more whoredom. No more toxic music. Okay? No more wicked television programs. We don't have to worry about our children being influenced by satanic influencers, man. None of that. Okay? And this is what the righteous, the prophets, and the apostles, and the men and women of the Lord hoped for, man, back in those times. Okay? So, at the end of the day, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man, has a judgment for this place. He has a judgment for the wicked and all the other nations that came against Israel. Because all nations had their hands in the spoils, man. Psalms, the 83rd chapter, calls them his enemies, man. The enemies of Yahweh, the enemies of Yahushua, and also the enemies of Israel. So I'm going to close out in the book of Deuteronomy and the book of Micah. What would the Lord do to his enemies? Let's start in Deuteronomy. I love this one too. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and start at verse 41. It says, if I wet my glittering sword in my hand, take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies. Again, Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Edom, the tabernacles of Edom is the first online. Okay? Edom goes into Iduan, the Idumeans. Okay? Which is a representation of Isashua, as I say in the Lashwan Kodash, Esau, who was the brother of Jacob, the wicked. Okay? If I wet my glittering sword in my hand, take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, right? Who we were, right? Who were the captives, okay? From the beginning of revenge upon the enemy. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. So guess what? What was that? Malachi 3 and 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob shall not be consumed. So the elect will be salvaged, while the enemies of the Lord are destroyed. Okay? Micah chapter 5. Let's grab that. Micah 5. Let's look at verse 10. It says, and it shall come Oh, Slakia. It says, and it shall come to pass that in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. So this is going into what? The Lord destroying the military, man. The arm of Esau, right? It tells us in the book of Job. Let's grab this real quick. Not Job, Salakia, Psalms. Let's grab this real quick. Salakia. Give me 1 second. Not Job, Psalms. Beautiful. Psalm chapter 15 and verse 6. Break their teeth. Who are the teeth? Going into the military. Okay. Break their teeth, O Yahweh, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions. So that goes into the military soldiers, man. The chariots goes into their tanks. Okay, so on and so forth. So let's go back. Micah chapter 5. So that verse 10. And it shall come to pass, and in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. And I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcraft out of thine hand, right? The great whore. That's deceive the nations with witchcraft. That goes into what? Philosophies, ideologies, different doctrines. Okay. Verse 12, and I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Thy graven images also will I cut off, man. There will be no more idols here. No more pictures of Cesare Borgia, aka Jesus Christ, man. Okay, none of that. All finished. Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee. And thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hands. And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee. So will I destroy thy cities. Verse 15. And I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen. Who are the heathen? Read Psalms the 83rd chapter. Also, 2/3 of Israel are counted as heathens and adversaries of the Lord. Micah 5 and 15 in its entirety. And I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. Okay? So let it be known, man, and rejoice, Israel, because the fall of our enemy is happening slowly but surely, but it will happen. We have to have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? Babylon, the Lady of Kingdoms, right? Nineveh, the great whore. Egypt, which are all synonymous for here in America, is going to be destroyed, man. All the elements will melt with fervent heat, and all the works of wickedness shall burn also. Okay? Let me grab a couple of precepts from the brother, and we'll close it out. Zephaniah 3 and 8. Nope, let's start at Lamentations. Let's start here. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. That cup of what? Of the Lord's indignation. And they are naked. That means their shame is being exposed. Lamentations 4:22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom, and will discover thy sin. So two things are happening right here in the script, in this verse here. The shame of Israel is being taken away. Why? Because we are redeeming ourselves by seeking the Lord 10 times more. But also the captivity of our captives are coming into hand, which is the daughter of Edom, the Edomites. Okay? Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore, wait upon me. Let me click that, Salakia. Wait upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, unto the day that I rise up to the prey. Again, we're not going to bear arms. What did Malak Dawadah say? He said, my sword and my bow shall not save me, man. Okay. In Psalms 44:1, he says, blessed be the Lord, my strength, will teach my hands to warn fingers to fight. So we're going to wait upon Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms. These are means these other nations, right? To pour out upon them mine indignation. If you go to Joel, the 3rd chapter, it talks about how all the nations be gathered into the mountain of judgment. Okay. Again, kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, man. Okay. So this is going into war, but most importantly, the downfall of this wicked queendom, the hammer of the old earth, mystery daughter of Babylon, lady of kingdoms, so on and so forth. Okay. So I pray that y'all were edified and also exhorted, man. We're going to see the downfall of our enemies. We're just going to hold on. Okay. Keep praying and keep pushing through, man. And again, hey, we're going to have mockers and scoffers like that scoffer that was on there that didn't even understand what Babylon was because the Lord's not dealing with him. Okay. So I pray y'all were edified. Hate the water to the brother Kazak Ban Yahweh for the precepts. Shalom to the beloved brothers who was watching and the beloved Khanbad. Shalom wa barakatam.